Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Grace with Amanda podcast. Today we have special guest and my personal friend, Miss Aimee Rhoton, and she is a current member of Favour Baptist Church with me. And I met her recently and we were able to enjoy some time on the cruise back in February together. And so thank you so much for being on today, Aimee. I really appreciate you coming on today. So
Yeah.
tell everyone, where are you from originally?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. And yeah, the cruise was a lot of fun. I can't wait to do another one.
Yeah, really.
Um,
Me too.
so I'm originally from Michigan and I moved here either 7 or 8 years ago.
Very cool. Very cool. So compared to Arizona, like what is the differences mainly that you feel from Michigan to Arizona?
So the biggest difference is weather because there's actually 4 seasons in Michigan. So basically in Michigan, it's like the winters are the bad time that you want to avoid. And here, it's kind of like the summer. I mean, some people love the summer heat, but I'm not one of them. So the summer here is my winter there. And I
Mhm.
think the biggest difference is because I'm from a smaller town in Michigan. So it's like country people are just a lot different from city people. That you have those nice country people that, will tell you if there's a problem and they don't even know you, where it's like, how city people are. They're just push and shove anybody that's in their way. So that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, we need more friendly people in the big cities, right? Like the
Yes.
country folk. Yeah, for sure. So how did you come to get saved?
So it's kind of it's an interesting story because I grew up like in a Christian home. Um I'm not sure if my mom was saved. My stepdad was definitely saved and then my dad was not saved. And like they were going to like a Pentecostal church for a while and then they were going to like a non-denom church for a while. And then I started going to the Baptist church because one of the Baptist churches in the area had a bus ministry. And so I would just, go on the bus by myself. And I liked being in the Baptist church. I stopped going to that one particular Baptist church and then I moved on to um, I moved on to the second Baptist church that I ended up becoming a member at. And, I really liked being a Baptist, but for whatever reason, like I didn't get saved. I'm not sure if it's that they didn't communicate the gospel well enough or what really it was, but I didn't get saved. And then my mom died when I was 21. So at that point, like I was like an atheist and because I had a lot of anger at God and I was just like listening to a bunch of like atheist YouTube channels and Bill Maher and stuff like that. And so then, I got to the point in my life where I was really wanting truth and looking for truth. And I tried going to a Pentecostal church, but they're just so crazy and it got my anxiety. Like, I couldn't handle it. I walked out within a half hour because it just got my anxiety because there's people that will like push you down. Oh, you're slaying the spirit and they're pushing you down. And I'm just like, this is a freak show. I can't handle this. And then there were some women, they were Mormon missionaries, and they came to my workplace and they were so nice. And I ended up going to a service and then I ended up meeting with the missionary girls and I'm just like, the things they believe are too weird. This is not the truth. So I moved on from that. And then I ended up, because I had already like heard of Pastor Anderson and I had listened to some of his sermons and I just wanted to like see what it was like in person. So I attended on a Sunday evening and then Mrs. Ventura came up to me and started asking me questions and giving me the gospel and answering questions that I had and leading me to the Lord. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this is something that this I knew it was the truth, and I was just so happy that I found the truth. And I'm like, okay, I want to attend here, and I want to know more. So that's what happened. And
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that you knew enough from going back in the Baptist churches growing up. You heard the word of God enough to know that what you were hearing at the Pentecostal church and what you were hearing, the Mormons say, you knew that wasn't truth. And so I
Yeah.
love that you recognize that. But when you heard the word of God coming from Mrs. Ventura, a born again saved Christian, that you were able to, understand it fully at that point and,
Yeah.
come to the knowledge of the truth. So I am so happy that you got saved, and good job, Mrs. Ventura.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she's awesome.
she really is amazing. I love her to pieces. So, um, were there any doubts or challenges you faced after getting saved, and how did you overcome them?
So the biggest challenge that I had is, just being a very introverted person and like being, country, Michigan, all the friendships that I had were people that came up to me first. So I didn't have to try very hard to make friends. And then, being in Arizona is just different. And I wasn't making any friends and I was just really struggling because I just needed that connection in my life. And then I heard Pastor giving the proverb about if you want to have friends, you have to show yourself friendly.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I want friends, so this is what I'm going to have to do. And I forced myself to do that. And then when I forced myself to do that, then that's when the friendships started coming. So that was the challenge, but I was able to overcome it.
Well, that's a huge challenge to overcome, and good job. And I never even knew you were introverted, and look at you here on podcast, for crying out loud. And you definitely have shown yourself friendly. You have lots of friends at church now, and everybody loves Aimee. So we are so glad that you are a part of our church. And it was fun to get to know you on the cruise. And yeah, like you said, I can't wait to go on another cruise with you. That'll be
Oh, yes.
so. We had a great time. Um,
Yeah.
so you also, since you had the background with the old IFB, what makes Faithful Word more unique than what you were used to, with your experience in the the old IFB?
So in the old IFB, like, it's kind of like, all their services kind of have the same like timeline, and all of them they have. I kind of judgmentally call it the American Idol, where you have the one woman singing the solo, and then you have the quartet, and not that there's anything wrong with it, but sometimes I wonder what the intentions behind it are. And also, they would have, let's shake everybody's hand time, and that was like 10 minutes during the service. And also, they're huge gluttons. So basically, like every Sunday or every other Sunday, it would be like this big potluck. There's so many people there that were like 300 pounds. And they basically, I don't know why they, I mean, the Bible says not to be a glutton, but it's like they just participate in that like gluttony. So there's definitely not as much of that in our church, and it's just different because the burden for the lost is just not there in the old IFB. I think there's a lot of godly, wonderful people in the old IFB, but the burden, it's just kind of more self-centered. Like, oh, we have to have the youth group and we have to have, the church bowling night and all these different programs, but there's not like a soul winning program. So the burden for the lost is just not there. Like I even talked to some old IFB friends because I was thinking about attending a camp meeting that they were having during the summer. And I asked about any soul winning, and there's like, no, because it's a time of refreshment for the saints. So there's not a soul winning, but there's going to be plenty of, lost people that are going to come and, they could get saved. And I'm like, I haven't been to this church in years. How would I even know who's lost and who's a church member? And I mean, I just feel like, okay, we're going to rest for eternity, but people are dying and going to hell every day. So that's the biggest thing is there's just not that desire to reach people as much.
Right, right. That's really sad, definitely. Um, so let's see, moving on to the next question. Okay, so what's one piece of advice you'd give a single Christian lady who's feeling pressured to find a spouse?
So the number one thing is the people that are going to come up to you and be like, you need to get married, or why haven't you gotten married, or you need a husband, that they mean well. They're not trying to hurt your feelings or anything like that. They mean well. And just to take it, with a grain of salt, that, don't get offended by it, and just, realize, um, just like to be kind and patient in your interactions with those people, and just say something like, I really want to get married and I'm praying about it, and that's all I can do. And, you know, it'll happen eventually. And a lot of times those people will back off when you say something like that.
Hmm. Right, right. Um, and you can also say you just haven't met them yet. You haven't met one. You have to have
Right.
because you don't, want to marry somebody that you're not really that attracted to or that kind of thing. You don't have that much in common with or what have you. So, good advice, Aimee. So, what practical steps do you take to grow spiritually while single, and how do these help you feel fulfilled now?
So I definitely, try to go to church as much as possible. I try to do the free 3 to 5, whenever possible, and getting involved in the soul winning. Sometimes I backslide with that, so I'm trying to get back on track, and reading the Bible, praying, getting encouragement when I need it, because sometimes I do need it. Sometimes I'm just like, it feels hopeless. And to come to someone, that's a friend in the church, and, have them encourage you in the Lord and pray with you, and, give you verses, because everyone needs encouragement every so often. People aren't an island. They need somebody sometimes to be like, hey, it's going to be all right.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm so glad that you reach out for that support when you need it. And we're definitely here for you. And I've been there too. So,
Yeah.
a lot of ladies that have been to our church, they can relate to, being single for some time. And so we can remember what those times were like, and we can definitely offer comfort and support and tips and ideas. So I'm so glad that you reach out and get that support, and you're doing a great job, finding things to, keep yourself busy and, working for the Lord and giving the gospel and being in church. So great job, Aimee. You're doing a
Thank
wonderful
you.
job.
Thank you.
So have you faced moments of loneliness or doubt as a single woman? And how do you turn to God for that community support? Like, who do you go to?
So many times. A lot of it is just spending too much time on the internet, just because there's so many like men that are just negative towards women, and they have this idea that, oh, all women, they want the guy that's tall, that has money, and so reading that, it can be really depressing, and just like limiting that time on the internet, and just realizing like, the world's going to have their philosophies, and it doesn't have to, get into your mind and sow discord into your mind. So a lot of times I'm just like, what, too much internet for me today. I'm unplugging. And
So good.
and I just, pray, and I'm just like, God, that that's the desire of my heart, to get married and have kids, and just help encourage me and help me to keep going, and help me to not see all those little things on social media get me down.
Exactly. I'm so glad that you just go to the Lord in prayer about that, and you just turn the internet off, and you just
Yeah.
you're like, okay, we're turning this off now. So that's
Yes.
what we got to do sometimes. And so I'm really proud of you that you are doing that and
Yeah.
doing what you need to do to stay strong. That's beautiful. So let's see, what is my next question? Okay, so what women in the Bible can you relate to?
So I would definitely say that I relate to Rachel, because I can definitely get over dramatic. And when she was like, "Give me children or I die," I'm like, "Yeah, I can relate to that." I mean, I get to a point sometimes where I'm like, "I need to get married, or I need to have kids, or I'm gonna die. I will die." So I definitely relate to that sentiment. And then like when her husband responded back and was like, "Am I in the place of God?" Like I it's like it's just so deep. It's like, you know, things like that, when people have problems with their fertility or whatever, like, they just need to go to the Lord about that, and not be yelling at their husband or whatnot. And also, I also like relate a lot to Ruth, just because, she went through these hard times, and she was able to like um come out on the other end, and she even ended up being in the genealogy of Christ.
Right. That's so
So,
beautiful. I love that. I love that you're finding encouragement from godly Christian women in the Bible. And so to not only get that encouragement in person and get that support in person, but also, see those godly examples in the Bible.
oh,
And
and there's one more that I forgot to mention, and this is my favorite woman in the Bible is Rahab.
mm,
I just love her story, that, she had the past that she had, and then, she turned her life to like, she decided to do what God wanted her to do, and she was able to turn it around.
exactly, exactly. And she shed light on the gospel, after that. And so absolutely, that is great. I love that. You find inspiration in that story. I do as well. So
Yeah.
and so how do you stay committed to modesty in this day and age? And what advice would you give to single women that are struggling with it?
So I'm not gonna lie, it's really difficult, just because the people that you see walking down the street, and sometimes you miss wearing pants, or you miss wearing shorts, and you just have to remind yourself that you're the Lord's daughter, and you need to you know dress in a way that you respect yourself. Because I mean, when I used to dress in a not righteous way, yeah, I got a lot of attention, but the attention I was getting were not the type of people that you want attention from. So I'm just like, it's better to not get any attention at all, and just to, walk down the street and not have somebody bother me, than, getting attention from all these guys that are not good, that are not godly, that are not, gonna be your husband and sacrifice for you, that they're just looking for one thing. And just like to encourage yourself, like, this is what the Lord wants. And it's kind of like, we're the daughters of the king, like, in a worldly sense, like, the daughter of a king is not going to dress like a prostitute. She's
Right.
going to dress, like she's royal. And we need to have that same attitude as godly women. So that's what I think of.
Exactly. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So you mentioned that your mom had passed away,
Mhm.
at the age of 21. I'm so sorry to hear that. How have you been able to cope with this?
So for the longest time, I was not coping with it well. I was, drinking and taking sleeping pills, and just sleeping my life away. And I did not cope with it that well, because I just thought that, okay, if I just keep burying it, then I don't have to deal with it. And then it just got to the point where I had to stop living that way, and I had to get sober. And then, I did a lot of good progress, but I still didn't allow myself to feel things. And then I didn't really start actually grieving it until this year, and just allowing myself to have the emotions, and, cry and pray and ask for strength. And, that's made a world of difference, just feeling those emotions, and getting through the stages of the grief process.
Right. It's going to take a long time. I'm glad that you're able to finally let yourself feel those things. And I'm so glad that you let the bitterness and the anger go, and that you're not angry with God anymore about it, because, it is hard. I can't even imagine, what you've been through, in losing your mom. And so I'm very thankful that you were able to come around and let that go, and let the bitterness go, and let your feelings just be, so that you can grieve. And you got to feel the feelings to be able to let them go, otherwise they're going to stay
Hmm.
and haunt you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I was going for stuff yesterday, and I was looking for her calendar, And, it was just making me sad. Like all of it was just like chemo's this day, this drug is this day. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to let myself feel those feelings. And, she suffered a lot throughout her life. And, I'm just hopeful that, she was saved and that she's, not suffering. And I really think that she's saved because she did, really love the Lord. And so that I'm just hoping for that. That's all I can do.
That's all we can do at this point, right? Is
Yeah.
that she was, and hope that you'll see her again someday. But I know that you do have lots of wonderful memories of your mom. And so along with the feelings of grief that you feel, I know sometimes I see your posts, remembering about your mom. And I always love seeing those posts, that bring you back to also the good times that you had with your mom. I think it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and just allowing yourself to grieve and feel those feelings is a healthy part of the process that definitely
Yeah.
happened. So you're doing amazing. You really are truly doing an amazing job. And even getting out there and sharing the gospel like you do, you're getting out there to let someone else's mom know how they can be saved, because we never know when we're going to take our last breath. And so you're doing an amazing job out there, sharing the good news of the gospel and shining the light of Christ. So you're doing a
Thank you.
good job, Aimee. So what older ladies have helped mentor you into biblical womanhood?
So definitely Shauna and Mrs. Ventura and you and Mrs. Anderson. And I mean, that's all I can think of at the top of my head. But there's a lot of really great ladies at our church that are just, great to get advice from and that are godly and living that, Christian life. So we're really blessed. We have a lot of really good women in our church.
We are really truly blessed. Those ladies have made a big difference in my life, and some of them are younger than me, and I still can glean wisdom from them because they are truly godly ladies. And we are blessed to have Mrs. Anderson for sure. And
Yes.
I've definitely learned a lot from her, and from Mrs. Shauna Antonucci and Mrs. Ventura. Definitely, there's so many ladies at our church that have so much wisdom that they can offer, and they care so much, and it's really a great church. And so I'm so glad that you're part of it, Aimee. And now when someone comes to church, you can share the gospel with them, just like Mrs.
Yeah.
Ventura shared with you back in the day, and you were able to get saved. And now you can return that favor to those visitors that come. And you're also, going door to door and going on cruise missions and
Yeah.
different places all over the world. And so I'm really excited for your bright future. And I really appreciate you coming on today. So if I know you've been sharing some Bible on Instagram. So if ladies want to catch up with you and connect with you on Instagram, how can they find you there?
Yeah, so it's AIMEERH97. And I'm kind of like revamping the channel because I was doing like a verse a day. So I'm kind of thinking about what I'm going to do instead because the every day has just not been working out. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, I'm sure you'll find your groove. And
Yeah.
so thank you for all that you do, Aimee. Thank you for being a part of our church. And thank you so much for coming on today. And thank you for your friendship. I really cherish our friendship. And I look forward to getting to know you even more as the years come and go. And just thank you so much for coming on, and praying for you that your husband will find you soon, and that
Yeah, me
you
too.
have a really blessed family, in the years to come. So just keep up the good work, Aimee. Keep up the hope, keep praying, keep working, and it'll come for you. It'll come together. So
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
bless, Aimee. Have a great day. Thank you
Thank
for coming.
you.
Hey there, friends. Coach Amanda Wright here. Thanks so much for watching today's podcast of Coffee and Grace with Amanda. So happy to have you here. The most important thing that you can know for sure is that you're on your way to heaven when you die. So if you are not 100% sure that you are saved, that you are on your way to heaven when you die, please check out my video called The Bible Way to Heaven. And I will have that play right after this video, as well as put it down in the description of this video. If you're a lady out there and you've enjoyed this podcast, we have a new Facebook group that we can connect in with our guests and possible future guests, and just keep the conversation going. And I'll also link that down in the description of this video so you can join us on Facebook for further conversation. Thank you so much for joining, and again, have a great day.